Hello, my name is Madison Yates, and I'm doing my pest analysis for international business with Ryan Ladner over China. Just give you a brief overview of what a pest analysis entails. A pest analysis will include the political factors, economic factors, social factors, and technological factors of the country. Just a little bit in here, we will be going over the government and the political factors, and the economic factors we will be doing the GDP, imports, exports, labor force, and everything else that the economic issues entail. And then social factors, we'll be going over the age structure, literacy rate, religion, and things like that. And then finally, last but not least, we'll go over the technological factors, which include transportation, World Wide Web, communication, and all the things like that. First, a little brief introduction of China. Beijing is the capital of China. China is the world's second largest country by land area, with a land area of 3,704,426 square miles. China borders Afghanistan, Bhutan, Burma, India, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Russia, and Tajikistan, and finally Vietnam. As you can see, China is a massive country. China's population is over 1.3 billion people. That is 1.3 billion people, and that is 19.3% of the world's total population. In this one country alone, we basically have 20% of the world's total population. China's currency is the yuan. One Chinese yuan is equal to 0.16 US dollars. So basically about 5.5 US dollars will equal one Chinese yuan. For China's political factors, China's government system is commonly known as the People's Republic of China. It is a single-party state that is governed predominantly by the Communist Party of China. The VP of the New York-based political risk practice at Aon Risk Solutions, Karina Mohanigan, states, "The political risk situation in China is interesting because while there's stability with the one-party system, there's also very little transparency in rules and other aspects of doing business, which makes it challenging for foreign investors." This basically means that for foreign investors in this market, it is difficult for them to get a read on the Chinese executives. So it is very hard for them to see what they're going to invest and what they are not. The chief of state in China is President Xi Jinping, and Vice President is Li Yunqiao. And they have been in office since March 14th of 2013. So right now, here in April of 2014, they've been in office for roughly 13 months. Moving on to the economic factors of China, the GDP is ranked number 14 on the world scale at 8.939 trillion US dollars. The GDP growth rate is ranked also 14th at 7.6% of annual change. Their per capita is ranked 120th on the world scale with 9,800 US dollars. Their unemployment rate is ranked 64th on the national scale, and that is a 6.4% unemployment rate. So as you can see, that is relatively lower than the United States unemployment rate at this time. China's inflation rate is ranked 97th on the country comparison scale, and that is 2.6% inflation. And the tax rate for foreign investors in China is 30%. Some economic factors continued. China's labor force has 797.6 million people in it. Just a brief breakdown of where those roughly 800 million people are. There's roughly 35% in agriculture, 30% in the industry, and 36% in the services. Some of the industries that China participates in, they're the world leader in gross value of industrial output, mining and ore processing, iron, steel, aluminum, and other materials. They are major in machine building, textiles and apparel, petroleum, cement, chemicals, fertilizers, consumer products, etc. I could definitely go on. There's a long line of the industries China participates in. Some of these natural resources they get for partaking in these industries are coal, iron, petroleum, natural gas, mercury, tin, tungsten, etc. As you can see here, there's a decent list. And some of the exports, China exports $2.21 trillion. They're the number one in the country comparison to the world. They're ranked number one. Some of China's main export commodities are electrical and other machineries, including data processing equipment, apparel, radio, telephone handsets, textiles, and integrated circuits. Some of their main export partners are U.S., Japan, and South Korea. Moving on to imports, China imports $1.7 trillion worth of imports. That is ranked number 3 on the country comparison scale. And as far as imports go, their import commodities, some of the main ones that China imports are electrical and other machinery, oil and mineral fuels, nuclear reactor, boilers and machinery components, optical components, optical equipment, machinery equipment, metal ore, and motor vehicles and soybeans. Some of their main import partners are South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, the United States, Australia, and finally Germany. Some of the socio-cultural factors, some of the age structure. As you can see here in this brief list, we go from 0 to 65 and over, and the main bulk of all this is right there in the 25 to 54 year range. That is at 47%, and not even a close second is the 0 to 14 year range. That is at 17%. China's literacy rate is currently at 95.1%, and that basically means like how many of these people can actually read and write and things like that. China's main religions is Buddhism, Christianity, and Muslim. As you can see there, it kind of goes down along the line, and there are many more, and some of that what is included in this unaffiliated are some of the smaller religions that just don't make it to the major scale here. And some of the technological factors, China has 389 million internet users, and just to give you an idea of how many people that really is, that is more than the whole United States population together. And China has 20 million internet hosts. And basically what internet host is, to get to the internet you go through an internet host, which basically gives you access to the World Wide Web. And just like Brian has one, and I can't remember exactly where it is, but you go through a host port, and that gives you the access. So of the 389 million people, they're only using 20 million hosts. And for some of the transportation that China has, they have 507 airports, and 463 of those are paved. So as you can see, there's about 40 or so smaller airports that are not paved in the more rural areas. But they use these airports in some of the major areas to get businessmen back and forth for different countries, going back and forth, imports and exports and things like that, discussing political issues. And then they also use, getting around their country, the railways. They have 53,438 miles of railways. And just finally, just a little bit more about their technology continued here. They have, as far as telephones go, they have 278 million landlines still in use, and they have 1.1 billion mobile phones. And just a little side note on here about the broadcast media. All broadcast media are owned by or affiliated with the Communist Party of China. So unlike us, where we have, you know, the main Hollywood and everything that like that, and we'll have Dish Network and Charter and, you know, HD Net and all things like this, China only has one. And so that's just a little interesting fact. And just some of my references right here, I'll use the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA.gov, to get pretty much every bit of my information came strictly from that website. I'm very thankful for that, but I appreciate you guys for listening to my presentation. Thank you.